Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the number one and the world's most watched professional wrestling news program on television. Broadcasting on Time Warner Cable in Milwaukee and all over the world at pwrshow.com. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Hero, DHHS, and all that stuff. What are you gonna?
When is the shirt? You know what? I did tweet out last week.
You tweet?
I did. I always.
Is it because all the tweeting Linda was talking about yesterday on Interactive?
Linda's tweetable.
Linda, she's I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm giving the opportunity to our PWR show fans, listeners, viewers, watchers, critics.
They can design the shirt.
They can design.
Does it need to have some Pope bling on there like you're wearing
I don't
today?
want it. No.
Where does it? Oh wow! It says I'm a mark for the Pope.
They're gonna have the DHS shirt on the
DHHS?
front. Yeah, Dave Hero has spoken.
But what about going?
What do you mean going?
Well, on these shirts, you got to get them coming and going. That's what I heard from a promoter once.
And on the back, it's gonna say pwrshow.com.
It's the only place to go, and thank you for going there to tune into the
But
show.
seriously,
tonight.
we got to get this thing rolling. It's going to be a hot item.
Well, why are you yelling at all the people out there?
No,
If
I'm
they're the ones
yelling
who are
at
supposed to
you.
be. All I need are the designs, and I'll give them to the web team and the marketing team.
Okay.
Frank might sign off on it. It depends.
Oh, Frank will sign off
He's
on
in
it.
charge of the marketing team.
Frank will.
We've had a busy last 36 hours. We had that Cody Rhodes Interactive on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Brand new Interactive, new look, new feel, new show yesterday.
Yeah. You look absolutely.
You looked, we felt. And now and now a brand new edition of Primetime, and we've wasted 1 minute and 43 seconds, so now let's get right down to it. Bryan Danielson on NXT this past Tuesday. He attacked, by God, the man had a family, Michael Cole, and what we saw, notice I said Bryan Danielson because we saw a bit of the American Dragon this past Tuesday night on NXT in what has been a wildly discussed angle.
They had to do it. They had to bring him back with some fire. They made him look like, a patsy for the last, 2 months?
Yeah. He said things that you have never heard on WWE TV, likening it to what Joey Styles said to Vince McMahon, what Paul Heyman said to Vince McMahon, what Jesse Ventura most recently said, and Bryan Danielson saying, if you're not made by WWE, you don't get a push. And WWE needs to look at who they should be pushing and who the fans want them to push and do that. Some real shoot-like comments. Of course, it was a work, but it was well done.
It's a worked shoot, is what it is.
You want to explain to the humanoids what that is?
It's when you do both at the same time. When it's planned, but you're really saying
what's
what
a
you
work?
feel. You know what?
We have new people out there.
You know what?
You're the expert.
No. Because I think they should go to the pwrshow.com and look at the glossary.
Done.
If you're watching the show, you should know what we're talking about.
Will this work for Bryan Danielson?
He's already over. He's already a star.
But will it?
Yeah, absolutely it will.
Will it be allowed to work?
Yes.
I guess is the question.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the machine?
They're admitting it.
Yeah, by letting them do
Why
it.
wouldn't they?
So will there be a Michael Cole, Bryan Danielson match that everyone's been talking about now?
No. That would be ridiculous. It's still going to
Okay, remember when they pulled things out of JR's ass on television?
Okay, it's still going to be Bryan Danielson.
Or his
against
butt,
The Miz.
his hiney, I'm sorry.
Yeah, watch your language.
I know.
There's
We're
interns
PG
here.
now.
Yeah, so we can't be saying that kind of
I
stuff.
know, that's what. Are we just going to argue?
Meathead's gone, and now look what you do.
He'll be back on Interactive next week.
You know he's on his honeymoon?
That's what I hear, down in Florida somewhere.
I've been watching his tweets. Wow.
Should I follow him?
Yeah.
Is that the right thing to do?
Absolutely, you got to follow the Meathead.
Was this the plan all along? We talked about when Bryan Danielson first came over to WWE. I lashed out and said it's another case of them trying to own the stars. If they build it, if they bought it, they built it, they're going to keep it. But was this a deliberate plan by WWE all along to get people so ticked off by changing him to a WWE machine
it was.
piece?
It was.
It was well done.
It has to be. Because it makes too much sense for it to not be that way.
Mm-hmm. Bryan Danielson with a lot of fans out there. What happens next, though? Does he go to a Raw or a SmackDown, or is this next is sort of in limbo?
No,
NXT is sort of in limbo.
Here's what's happening. That he is now the #1 vote getter on the TNA website for #1 contender.
He's not even in the running.
He's the write-in.
You can't write in.
Oh, they can. You watch that website; it's all messed up.
Speaking
right
of TNA wrestling, this past Sunday was Sacrifice on pay-per-view, and there is one thing that the world is talking about, and that is the man who calls himself an asshole, and the man who christened his own
the
assholes.
guy who you took to Ed DeBevick's
Yes.
in Chicago.
And there was an incident, yes.
There was an incident.
Not everyone understands Ed DeBevick's.
No.
But on Sunday, Sacrifice on pay-per-view, many people became marks for Ken Anderson.
No, they became fans. How can you not be a fan of Ken Anderson?
It was
right
a great
now?
promo.
It was a great promo.
Is he better as a heel in the role he's in now, or will we soon see, as a lot of people are reporting, Ken Anderson go good?
Well, I mean, Ken's at a point right now where, as much as they hate him, they love what he's doing.
Yeah. Roddy Piper-esque?
I'm not going to compare him to Piper or to Austin, because that's just, as much as I love Ken, he's not, he's not an Austin, yet.
But the fan reaction,
But
I
the
think,
fan
can be
reaction
compared,
is kind of similar right now.
Mhm.
Where, as much as they love Jeff Hardy, when he was done with that promo, a lot of people liked what he was doing.
Little gimmicks on
And
your
you know what?
arms,
And
little
you know what?
headbands.
We even saw it when we were in Hammond.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he came out, ripped the crowd something
Bye-bye.
first,
Beep.
and then Jeff Jarrett comes out, babyface pop, but as the match was going, there was a big Anderson chant.
So, what's the right thing to do if you're the TNA booking committee right now? What is the right thing to do with this character who is arguably white hot?
Well, Ken was in the White Boy Challenge at one time.
I'm sorry?
You didn't know that?
I'm not familiar with such things. What is this?
You know, back when Rodney Mack,
Oh, yeah.
the White Boy Challenge.
Yes.
If
Was it really?
If you go back, I'm sure you can find YouTube. There was a young Ken Anderson in the White Boy Challenge.
What's the right thing to do if you're the booking team in TNA? White hot. Fans love him. Fans love to hate him. All at the same time.
Here's what you got to look at. Who are your best heels right now in TNA?
Sting?
Who's your best heel in TNA right now?
Desmond Wolfe? Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe's not really a heel.
You think Ken Anderson's
Matt
better?
Morgan?
You think
Orlando Jordan's a... Well,
he's a different kind of heel.
right.
Okay. Right now, you got to think that Ken Anderson is the number one heel
Yeah.
in TNA.
So without him...
So why would you want to take him and make him a baby face?
Mm-hmm. Can they not do it, though?
It's going to be hard.
Remember, Austin got huge because where were they pushing him? Towards being a heel.
Right.
It didn't take.
I think Ken will he already has the number one selling T-shirt as a heel.
Which says pro wrestling is real.
People are fake. Yeah. You know what? No matter what they do with Ken right now, it's going to work. Because the fans are just into him.
Your thoughts on Sacrifice overall? Bizarre situation with Sting and Jeff Jarrett. RVD retaining the titles. Outsiders retaining the titles. And the X Division title going back to Doug Williams.
Yeah, you know what? I feel bad for
Tara
Kaz.
gone.
That wasn't surprising.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Kaz. I really thought that they could have done more with him. But now, it looks like he's going in a different direction in TNA. Doesn't need that title or whatnot. But, it was an okay pay-per-view.
It wasn't earth-shattering.
No.
But again, really, truly, 1 week later, the one thing everybody's talking about is the one thing we talked about to kick off this story, which was that promo by Ken Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. That's going to be a hot T-shirt.
Do you think we'll see that shirt? Thank God I'm a beep?
You have to.
Or just I'm a beep?
Why not? Austin.
If you were designing it, what would you put on it? How would you make those words happen so it can be worn in schools and such?
Oh, you can't wear it in schools no matter how
Or at
you
Denny's.
design it. At Denny's, I'd do the @ dollar sign, and a bunch of bullet holes after it.
Ooh. If they don't, can we? If we,
We'll steal it. I don't care. Absolutely. I probably just gave him the idea how to do the shirt.
Lots of discussion out there about TNA wrestling and some potential cuts being made to the roster. Now, here's one
We
thing I
talked
think.
about this a while ago, though.
Absolutely.
That
we
they're
did.
hemorrhaging money and they had to make some changes.
But here's one thing that I don't think a lot of people realize, David Hero, is while these talents may be contracted, they don't get paid unless they work. in most cases. So the fact that they have such a huge talent roster doesn't necessarily mean that they're paying all these people to be on the roster.
Well, they're guaranteed so many dates a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they will eventually get the money, but, you know, like ODB sitting at home, I don't think she's getting paid right now.
Yeah.
You know?
And eventually the year's going to run out and they're going to have to start honoring those deals. They're not bouncing checks.
No.
They're not, none of the telltale signs are out there. You'd hear about them if they were. But this is probably a real issue. And there are probably some people who they can release and not have to worry about those obligations with zero impact on the
I am
product.
not commenting on that.
So would you or would you not release the Pope?
You got to keep the Pope right
Absolutely,
now. You have to.
There aren't many I don't think they can get rid of, but they can certainly trim the roster a bit for people they're quite frankly not using. Where's Stevie?
You know what? I would
Bobby
cut,
Lashley, I think, is still
you know
technically
what?
under contract.
I would cut Lanny Poffo. Iron Mike Sharp would have to go.
Arrgh!
You know, definitely. The Moondogs, got to cut
Come
them.
on, they're a great tag team.
But they
And
got to
a
go.
great program with the Nasty Boys.
They got to go.
Bubba the Love Sponge show this
Who?
past. We talked about it on the radio show last night.
You mentioned his name.
Well, you know what? Actually, I was forced to listen again because of an incident that occurred on Wednesday's show, and he had some interesting points about that broad from Alaska. She was the governor.
Dude, you can say Governor Palin.
She's not governor anymore.
So, she still had the title. Jesse Ventura's not governor, they still call him the Gov.
Someone called into the
That-
show
you know what,
on
that
Wednesday.
hurts.
What? You're not Alaskan?
No,
What are you up there
no, but you know what?
logging, or no, that's down south.
Forget it. You know what? I'm not talking about it.
Someone called into Bubba's show claiming to be a Spike TV representative, saying that TNA is on the fringes of cancellation due to their firing.
I wonder if that was
Of Bubba.
Randy Ritchie.
He's been very
You're
vocal.
rocking Randy. He's very vocal about
Very
TNA.
vocal. Obviously, that a statement which was found by, I believe, PWInsider.com from Spike TV indicating that was, of course, not at all true. However, if it were, they wouldn't say it was, but that was not a Spike employee that called into the show. Bubba's still positioning, all that stuff. But people want that kind of story. They want that kind of juice because they want that
That's
to happen.
why I say the whole thing is a work.
The whole thing. Still, you're still
Yes.
saying that with this BTLS.
Hogan versus Bubba the Love Sponge will be on pay-per-view in a few months.
You know, here's the thing.
You know what?
Back
It's
in
not that
December or so,
far-fetched.
I know, but back in December or so, you sat here and said that the Nasty Boys would be a part of TNA.
I
And
did,
it
didn't I?
happened.
Go back a few
Something
more
happens
months.
up there in the clouds when you say things are going to happen. So you
Whoa.
sitting here saying Hogan and Bubba are
Back
going
in
to...
August, I said Bret Hart would wrestle Vince McMahon.
You
at
did, but
WrestleMania.
David Hero, I want you to really think about what you're saying because we will have to sit there as reporters and endure that mangled mess. There's no good could come of that.
We saw Jenna Morasco versus Sharmell
Oh,
Sullivan.
we saw it. I was
Yeah.
there live.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the top 5 worst wrestling matches in the history of the sport.
But Bubba and Hogan are like this. If Sable can come back and work for Vince McMahon, okay, after suing the company, anything is possible in wrestling. Bret Hart came back. He hugged Shawn
We'll
Michaels.
talk about him later. Got a little heat with him right now. Things we made up, but now things are bad again. Dave Penzer gone from TNA. That's one thing we can confirm at this point. Jeremy Borash handling the ring announcing duties, and you know
Yeah. Boy, if you want to save money, get rid of David Penzer.
who misses him.
Really? I mean, come on. They never show the guy on TV.
Right. So why have him there?
You know, he doesn't do the house shows.
Right.
I don't know.
This past Friday, we went to a TNA live event, and let's talk about. I think it was your second TNA house show.
It's my second TNA
event
third
period.
TNA event.
Your thoughts, given what we saw? Top great matches on the card. The main event was RVD, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles in a 3-way. Some very good stuff happening at that show. But your impression of that crowd in Indiana?
I thought the Hammond crowd they were into it. I mean, they were having a good time. They had fun. They were buying merchandise. They were cheering. They were booing.
You said that it was a wrestling crowd.
Oh, absolutely, it was a wrestling crowd.
What does that mean? I mean, wouldn't a wrestling crowd be at a wrestling show?
Well, no. It was the hardcore wrestling fans.
Mhm.
You know, it's the people you expect to see there. You know.
The matches themselves. We saw a knockouts match.
I love you, Lacey. You are a beautiful woman.
She's one of the beautiful people. Wow. It felt as if it was drizzling in the arena at that time. Just a little bit. The fans, though, they seem to like it. So are we being too critical?
Who's not going to like Lacey and Velvet and Sarita and Madison and
Taylor Wilde?
And Taylor, come on. Who's not
Right.
going to enjoy that?
How about Earl Hebner's "Yes, I Did It" shirt?
Wow.
$10 a pop.
That's how much they were, just 10?
Yeah, $10 a pop, and he was signing the autographs. Don West in attendance, working his tail off. You know, I gotta say, for a lot of the criticism people give TNA for their house show business, they put on good events.
They
Now,
brought
with a
out Star
nationally
Power.
broadcast television program, they should probably have more people at those events. But it was a good event. It was fun. It was a wrestling event. You know what I mean? It wasn't a manufactured cookie cutter kind of thing that
You
you,
know what
get
the
at
funniest
times
thing
from-
was?
What's that?
Is when we walked in the building,
Mhm.
okay? And I'm not going to say what wrestler came up to you and shook your hand and gave you a big hug and said it was good to see you. But he says, Damien, down the hall and to the left. And that's where the catering was. It was hilarious. I mean, it was so funny that they knew.
I was hungry.
They knew.
I was hungry. Compare it to a WWE live event. We're at SmackDown. It was a television taping, so it's a little different. We're at SmackDown most recently for the E. And just compare the
you know
fan
what?
experience.
TNA is a far better fan experience because after the show, they invited whoever wanted to come in the ring for $20 and get a Polaroid with Jeff Jarrett. I'm
Hardy.
sorry, with Jeff Hardy.
Which is an unheard of experience
I mean,
in recent
they
history.
had like, what, 300 people come to the line for that?
Yeah, that's a lot of
That's a
Skrilla.
lot of cheese, baby.
Ducats. Cheese?
Cheese.
Okay. Munster?
Cheddar.
So a lot of people though would recommend a TNA live event, and you know if you haven't done it, it's an opportunity to get real close to the talents, and WWE just can't do that. I mean, they got 15,000 people there. It's logistically.
But here's
different.
the thing. They look at the fan superstar interaction different than how TNA does.
Yeah.
The TNA wrestlers, they truly appreciate their fans. You know?
Every one of them, including the guy dressed as Sting. I mean, dressed as Sting.
I can't believe Frank did that. Frank goes with us, puts on the whole Sting gimmick face paint, and was wearing a leotard.
Yep.
It's like
And
he's
boots, by the
It
way.
was like he's
Wrestling
trying to
boots.
smuggle a peanut, you know? It's like...
Was there an envelope in his mailbox? So it's a question.
No, and you know what? Honestly, I wanted to take a picture and tweet it, but I didn't want his girlfriend getting
Well,
mad.
JB did it.
Did JB do
Oh,
it?
JB did it.
He did.
He did
Honestly,
it.
I don't follow JB on Twitter.
You know,
No. I'm very selective who I follow the VH1 people on Twitter.
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian, Miami, yeah, you know, all the important people.
On WWE Raw this past Monday night, hosted by Buzz Aldrin, commercial free in Toronto. The first hour was brought to you by Canada, by the way.
Oh,
I think it was just all
absolutely.
Canadian talent, which was great. But what wasn't great was
I didn't like it commercial free.
there was no reason for it. Was the problem when it was commercial free last time? I think it was Donald Trump potentially.
It
or
was
something.
Trump. It was in Green Bay.
Yeah. You know, fun fact about Green Bay, Wisconsin is we have from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The only time Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon, and Paul Heyman were in the same ring at the same time together. Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. It happened.
Huh.
Yep. Just a little anecdotal fact. But the problem with Raw this past Monday night, and it was only one thing, and that is we have a brand new United States champion, ladies and gentlemen. The Miz screwed out of his United States championship to Bret Hart, who put forth little to no effort to win that title. Was it a hot shot because
he
they were in
walked all
Canada?
the way down to the ring. He has a lot of effort
That's
for
all
him
he
to
did.
get there.
I'd like to thank D.H. Smith and Tyson Kidd and Natalia Neidhart
Who
for
are
that.
friends of the show, by the way.
Was this a hot shot for the Canadian audience? Was it the right thing to do for the moment, for the time, for that week? And how do we get out of it?
We're already out of it.
Did Miz get it back?
Oh no, he's gonna probably give the belt up and say, you know what? I want the young guys to get it. Let them have Bryan Danielson against him. Wait, didn't I mention
couldn't
that
Brett
once
just hand the
before?
belt over to Bryan Danielson?
He could, but I
Great.
doubt it.
Doesn't make sense to give it to DH or Tyson.
No,
There's no other hearts floating around unless they bring Teddy in.
and that's not gonna happen.
That's going to be interesting. But eventually, does it go to the Miz?
It's gonna be Miz and Bryan Danielson, or Daniel.
Oh, and a feud.
Bryanson.
Yeah, okay. Is this where you say?
I don't have to say it
because you
they
have
know.
already spoken.
I've already spoken. DHHS.
You know what, though? It was a good Raw. It was a good Raw. And the interaction between Jericho and Bret Hart and The Miz and Bret Hart
Oh,
was
Christian
worth
and
the price
Edge.
of admission. Absolutely. Great matchup. Great matchup from them. And one of the longest Divas matches we've seen in years from WWE.
And how about the return of Gail Kim?
Yeah.
Another Canadian.
Good stuff on
Not
Raw.
pleased
Buzz
that she beat
Aldrin, though.
Foxy, but you know,
Buzz Aldrin seemed buzzed.
he looked ripped, didn't he?
I didn't notice. I couldn't get past the time. It was one heck of a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting Raw, but certainly not a bad Raw. They stepped up. They got 3.4 this past week as well because the ratings matter to a lot of people. Some more people were watching.
3.4 with no commercials.
No commercials. Had 3.05 the previous week, so substantial increase.
It's a big difference.
3.44 to be statistically accurate. We also found out on Raw this past Monday night that there will be a new general manager announced this Monday night coming up on Raw. Vicky Guerrero, escorted out by the Bella Twins, and now we
How
will
funny
find
is
out
that? The Bella Twins.
who also had a match.
The Bella Twins escorted somebody out of the building.
Vicky is so priceless, though. Her heat is amazing. She is so great at what she does, and the people hate her so much that I don't see the reasoning behind not having her
Who's
as the
going to
GM.
come as the
Raw.
GM?
That's the question I was going to pose to you, David the Hero. Who should it be? We got an email from a fan recently that said, what about JBL? We won't do it, but
No.
people are going to speculate that maybe it's JR. Who's hanging out there? Who's...
You know what? It could be Vicky Guerrero that brought back again.
Yeah, Swerve.
It wouldn't be surprising.
She did quit, as Buzz pointed out to her. I don't know who else is out there. Who could... William Regal? I mean,
No,
been there, done that.
No.
Santino Marella?
No.
That doesn't have longevity to it.
Well, that would be as much as what I love Santino. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Isn't it good, though, that we can't come up with a name?
Well, yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah. How much longer are we going to see these guest hosts, given the fact that we're getting a general manager? Buzz Aldrin had 2 segments, I think, this past Monday night. And
That's all he could remember were 2 segments. Come on.
how much longer for the guest host? Or should they do, as JR said in a recent blog, jrsbarbecue.com, do it once a month as opposed to every week, make it special again?
You think that... I don't mind it every week. It's really irrelevant because they don't do anything anymore.
Yeah. So if it's not a big star, then why do it? You know what I mean? If they're not really doing much of anything, if it's not a Shaq or a William Shatner or a Bob Barker, then why do it? Buzz Aldrin reminded me a lot of Bob Barker, by the way.
You know what's funny is I'm thinking, because I forgot that Buzz was the guy on there.
Mm-hmm. I guess he's Canadian, which I
I'm
missed that part.
thinking, who in the hell is this guy, I mean, what wrestling fan truly knows who that is? That's not the demographic.
That is not the demographic. This Sunday is WWE Over the Limit on pay-per-view, David Hero. Let's
Wow.
talk about the main matchups on that card. It is an I Quit match with John Cena and Batista. They had a great match at Mania, WrestleMania 26.
They had a great match last month, and they've been feuding for the past 3 months. Wow. It's like I've never seen this match before, so I really don't know who could possibly win.
Batista was awesome on Raw this past Monday, I thought. Give me my spotlight! Where's my spotlight?
It's John Cena. There's no way John Cena's gonna say I quit.
Well, he said it 3 times on Raw this past Monday night.
He's not gonna say it in a pay-per-view. He
I
sells
assume
too
Jay
many
Swagger's
t-shirts.
defending his title as well.
your world champion, Jack Swagger.
Well, he's more so your world champion. He's all of our world champion.
He's
But
going to beat the Big Show.
is he going to walk out?
He's going to leave the champion.
Big Show had, what is it? It was almost like a silent face turn. Well, he knocked Miz out. I
Well,
know,
here's
but-
the thing, but Swagger is so hated, you know Big Show's going to be cheered.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got to do that.
You knock out Miz, you knock out Jericho, of course, they're going to cheer the guy.
So both champs walk out still champ after Over the Limit.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk. CM Punk loses, he loses his locks. Rey Mysterio loses, he'll be wearing a bit of a different mask as part of the Straight Edge Society.
I like CM Punk to beat Rey Mysterio.
Again.
He didn't beat him last time, but he'll beat him this time.
Okay. All right. Pay-per-view worth ordering, in your opinion?
Is there a pay-per-view worth ordering anymore?
You know,
Really? When you see the same matches every week on
Same
free
five,
TV,
same five?
why,
Which isn't the case
why?
anymore.
You know, I'm going to go down to Roll Mines here on South 27th and College, the Blast area, and I'll
Mhm.
watch it there. You going to join me?
I'll have to check my schedule and see what the intern's going to be booked for. I might be doing a
Linda
personal
Kay's
appearance
going to
that
be
night.
there. That'll make you show up.
So that's WWE Over the Limit. Those are the main matches this Sunday on pay-per-view. Going into the
Wait,
summer
wait.
season.
You know who's missing?
Who dat?
Isn't Sheamus missing?
Well, he's trying to get a match with, trying to show his dominance and try to get in with Cena.
Or
He may have a match. We don't have the interns didn't prepare the full match listing, so we went over. They only gave us the main matches on the card to discuss.
Yeah. That's disappointing.
Going into the summer season, though, we're going to see a little bit of a step back from television ratings and pay-per-view buys, I would say, because it's, well, Summerfest coming to Milwaukee. Usher is going to be performing.
Don't
First time I get to
forget
see Usher in concert.
The Italian Rumble 2 is coming to
It's
Milwaukee.
on June 11th, coming up right around the corner. at the
Friday,
Italian
June
Community Center.
11th, you got Al Snow against the hottest guy in TNA right now, Jay Lethal,
Oh, yeah!
doing his Ric Flair impersonation. You're gonna have
Will we see that
Frankie-
Ric Flair impersonation on June
I
11th?
think we very well might just do that. You'll see Frankie Kazarian. You'll see our very own Rashi Brown will be there.
Skull Crusher, Rashi Brown. Who's now tweetable?
He is tweetable at Rashi Brown. And then we got ODB will be there, who's
Bam.
tweetable.
She
One dirty biatch.
had an incident that she communicated on Twitter with a person sitting next to her on an airplane.
Yeah, she needs to be careful right now. And she'll actually be wrestling Tracy Brooks. You can follow her on Twitter.
The match will finally happen.
finally happened.
Wow.
TLB and ODB.
BlizzardBrawl.com for all the information on that show.
And Baron Von Raschke will be there.
That's all.
That's
people
all
need to
people
know.
need to know. Absolutely. BlizzardBrawl.com.
Thank you to all of you for tuning into the Pro Wrestling Report Radio last night on 540 ESPN, a special Thursday post-Impact edition of the Pro Wrestling Report. We'll be back to Monday night after Raw.
Are you sure?
I am certain. This Monday night on 540 ESPN. We appreciate your patience as you follow us around as our schedule gets changed every now and again for Milwaukee Brewers baseball and the NBA Finals. So
Who
we
watches
seem to be,
the NBA Finals and stuff right now? Anybody?
about 10 million people watched.
Not this year, they're not. They want to listen to us.
And you can do so this Monday night on 540 ESPN. Remember, that show streams live on our iTunes application and at pwrshow.com. And for those of you that have the iTunes app, apologize for the delay in getting updated there. We spoke to the people who handle that, and they have gotten that fixed. So you can enjoy all of that bliss on the Pro Wrestling Report iTunes
Do you know who's in
application.
town tonight?
Who dat?
We're supposed to meet for some cocktails?
Bliss.
Abyss.
Some cocktails? I don't think there's some when it comes to
Well, when it comes to you, there's like millions of
you
cocktails.
that is just absolutely
And you know what?
untrue.
He really does always wear a Hogan's ring.
He truly does. Truly does.
Hey, I will have next week video of X.
You said it. We'll get it rolled
And he
into
is
the
going to
show.
make. He is going to tell the world that I had nothing to do with it.
Under duress.
Absolutely.
Thank you to all of you who watch us on YouTube. And last week, David, we celebrated our 10,000th subscriber on YouTube. 10,000 people get an email every time we put a new show up, and we want to get to 20,000, so we'll be on that track now as well. But sincere thanks and appreciation go out to all of you who have subscribed to
we
us.
got to do something
on
special
YouTube.
for the 20,000.
We will do something huge for our 20,000.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out when we get closer. Put it on. Frank and the marketing team can figure it out.
absolutely.
And
Follow us on Twitter this weekend also. God knows what's going to happen.
hey, you never know. You could end up being fan of the week, or you could be one of the tweets of the week on Interactive. New features on that show, which was available yesterday. And remember, all of our shows, our episodes rather, are available first at pwrshow.com, sometimes by days, David, at pwrshow.com. So that is certainly somewhere you want to go and check.
The Brian Kendrick.
The Brian Kendrick.
He wants to come on the show, I heard.
He does, and we're working that angle. He is, I'm not sure I realized how outspoken he was before speaking to him. So
Yeah.
it would be, it's going to be
Could be
a
interesting.
tell to tell when we do secure that deal. But we are out of time, and we appreciate you tuning in
Out
to
of
this
time?
week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report. We only got 4 minutes. Pro Wrestling Report here.
I'm not done.
What else would you do?
Forget it.
We
You
didn't
cut
have
it-
much
no.
Pope discussion this week. He's almost back from his injury, you know.
It's coming back in June or July.
At which point is he going to headline Slammiversary?
No, that's going to be,
That's the main event.
yeah. There's already a main event for Slammiversary.
Anything else?
I'm done.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We'll see you Monday on 540 ESPN and streaming live at pwrshow.com.